Welcome, welcome. So we're here at episode 4 with the New Mexico Kayak Bass Fishing. Gene, how are we doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing all right, man.
Um, Notice I'm peeling a little bit from all that fun fishing over the weekend. My ear kind of hurts from all them damn phone calls.
Yeah, that was the interesting part of tournament directing that I had no freaking clue that existed. Not that it's a bad thing. It's just definitely a different perspective when you start getting a bunch of questions and on the water issues and comments and is this cool or can I upload it like this and
And you know, it wasn't the fact that I had so many people calling. It was like a lot of the questions that I was getting over the phone is like, can you accept this fish? Like, I know his
yeah.
mouth's open. Can you go ahead and just kind of give me a pass? Like, no, bro, it's like physically black and white in the rules. Like, if the mouth is open, it's going to be a DQ. Did I feel bad about it? I did, but that is an angler's, responsibility. If they're going to send me a fish to verify, it's got to fit within them rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, look, man, I've had some heartbreaks too with photos. I've had some tournaments where it should have been first and it ends up in fourth because of a bad photo. You
Yeah.
know, so it's one of the easiest ways or quickest ways to learn is to definitely get one DQ'd or get one where there's a deduction, and then you'll pay better attention next time. And I think maybe here soon, maybe we should do a video or something, just kind of going over how to stretch a fish, how to get more out of a fish, and the angles of photos. So
Kind of
because there was
tips
even
and
some
tricks.
photos, the angles were so bad, like it was hard. Me and you were like putting straight edges to photos.
Yeah. Well, because I had the one guy, he's like, well, if it's considered cracked mouth, I lose a quarter. And I was like, no, his mouth is wide open. So you've got one of two choices. One, you can either lose the fish or take another picture and actually have, that quarter inch missing. Like,
Yeah.
you want your 18.25 or do you want no fish at all? That's what it comes down to. um, uh, Moving on. I think that the anglers from our first stop seemed to be happy. It seemed like we had a good payout. We had good feedback and stuff. What were your thoughts on our first little mission of fishing?
Um, Sorry, man. I had something. I was trying to join the chat. Honestly, I'm just glad nobody died. Um, so it was a success for me, I guess, at that point. And then everything else was just a plus. I thought it was really tough fishing for everybody, but I thought everybody kind of hung in there. The hour format was definitely interesting because I know me and you were up live scoping at about I think Saturday 5 p.m.
Yep.
and we got on a really good white bass bite, and I think you even caught one largemouth. And so we had a bunch of photos during that time get submitted to us, and so I think having those late Saturday evening, that late bite, I think kind of helped some guys.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
because
definitely.
I do believe that the evening bite was better than the morning bite, and I all that has to do with how much that water had warmed up.
Mhm. And I think, having that format where you can go early, you can get out there, you can get lost, you can get mad, you can get pissed off, and you can literally go, get off the water and still come back, and you got till way late at night to try to put something together, and then you got the next day too. So overall, I think it was a pretty successful thing. Payout, in my opinion, was probably, I think, man, that might have been the highest payout I've seen in New Mexico to this point.
Yeah, I was following the first TBF tournament out of Roosevelt, and that boat tournament paid $50 more than we did.
Hmm.
Second place was $100 short. Third place was $150 short of what we paid out.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got a little boost there from I think Zia at the end. We had a couple gift cards, so we gave them out to I think
Yep.
sixth and seventh, I think. So that was cool. And I'm looking forward to moving forward. I think it's got potential to grow. Hey man, I was shooting for maybe 10 to 15. I was thoroughly impressed with. I think we had 21 total on the water.
We wound up having 22 total
Yeah.
on the water. Then not on top of the the gift certificates from Zia, but he also mentioned that if you're fishing the NMKBF series, that if you go in there and tell him, you're going to get an additional 10% off, which I thought was super, super cool.
Yep. I had no idea too, man. I didn't know that they had ammo in there. I didn't know that he was a bait shop. I literally thought it was just a kayak shop. So I think
Yeah.
we went in there. I even got like $30 worth of stuff that I just hadn't seen.
Oh yeah, and for the fact you can go there and get like 4 trophy lures right off the wall. So
I think the only feedback we got about changing anything was everybody wanted to get off the water a little, maybe an hour earlier on Sunday.
yeah, so I had a couple saying that they have to go to work at like 4 or 5 in the morning. That they would prefer instead of a 3:30 last cast to make it like a 2:30. That would push everything back an hour, give him a little bit more time to get back on the road and moving.
Yeah, and that works for me too, man, because I think I got back a little bit after 10 that night, and I started driving as soon as I left the taco place there.
Yeah, and on that, when I was picking up my camp, I wound up twisting my ankle, eating shit. So both my ankles hurt, my ribs hurt because I think I broke one on the corner of the damn picnic table thing. So that really fucked me up for 2 days. So yeah, not picking up camp in the middle of the night.
Yeah. And there were some rough things too, man. I think both nights, I was out till 9-10 o'clock Friday night and Saturday night trying to get shit together. I had one guy's kayak fucking motor fell off, so we were trying to put it together. That's the other thing that I think there was 4 of us in the parking lot, trying to do stuff for other anglers. So I like that about it.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up, that we actually had an angler that we believe he stumped a pile of rocks, wound up knocking his motor off, called us. We were on the bass boat. We were able to jet over to him, pull that motor off the top of his kayak, put it on the boat, and he was able to continue fishing for Saturday. Then we were able to meet up with him and get him fixed up for Sunday.
Yeah.
But I guess, shall we start with third place, get third place in here, kind of grind his mind and see what he was doing and how he got his success?
Yeah, figure out why he didn't get that 5th fish.
Yeah, let's bring him on. Let's talk to Brandon Huff.
What's
Brandon, don't mind us. We were talking shit a little bit.
Yeah, I heard.
So, tell us what you think of the format for this series.
Oh, I love the 2-day format. It pushes you more. I like the longer format, making you struggle a little harder. I like it. I like it.
Do you think we should double it to 10 fish though?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it'd be just as hard. I really do.
Yeah.
So when I was thinking about putting all this together, and me and Gene had talked for almost 2 weeks straight, like 4 hours a day on this. Say you spend all day Saturday, you catch your 5, and you can find a good pattern, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means once you catch that 5 fish, you can kind of like hone in on that. Then that makes Sunday literally a bonus day.
Yeah, you can just call all day.
Upgrade those fish.
Get bigger baits and just start going through those same fish.
Yep.
Call all day.
Yeah. Or find something that, that's similar to what you've originally found your fish on, and just start covering water. Maybe you'll find those big mamas.
So,
yeah.
Brandon, did you catch fish both days, or did you put your 4?
I did catch fish both days.
Up from one day.
Sorry, you broke up. What?
I don't know. Cut out. I was asking your 4 fish came over both days.
Yeah, I caught 3 fish the first day and 1 fish the next day.
Okay.
And your biggest fish come day 2 or day 1?
Day 1, early, real early. Like 8
What time did you launch?
So that's the thing. Aaron and I launched at 4 a.m. when it was way too cold.
I could have told you it was going to be cold.
It was like 29 degrees on the water. And we just suffered for an hour before we even started fishing.
Should have brought you some hot cocoa.
No, some warm socks.
You're going to have to get you some fishing boots. Stop getting your feet wet.
Yeah, for real.
So what was your go-to bait for this tournament?
My go-to was I had two. One was the underspin. The other was the call shad. I was messing around with the Berkeley call shad.
Okay.
But my primary was the underspin. I caught 3 fish on the underspin and 1 on the call shad. I had more followers on the call shad, so I was messing around with it too.
Okay. And were you slow rolling it or were you burning it?
I was slow rolling it.
Yeah.
I was
So it just
almost
kinda
getting
bouncing off the bottom a little bit.
Yeah, I had gotten it snagged a few times. Yeah, I was trying to get it through.
With the big fish, it's a 19.5. What did it come on?
It came on the underspin
Okay.
on the most awkward spot, on the spot I didn't think the fish would be on. Just a bluff wall. There's no structure underneath.
Just an off the wall cast.
Just an off the wall cast. I had literally just set up my GoPro and made a cast to pull a backlash out of my line.
Oh shit! And
Yeah.
were you and Aaron
I wasn't-
fishing in the same spot?
No. Well, at first we were. We went back to Pirates Cove, and we suffered there for an hour, and then I started working down that wall on the Alamogordo side of the Elephant Butte. I forget what direction that is, west side, and I started fishing that wall back towards the Elephant, and that cove that's directly behind the Elephant. That goes back there. Elephant's a peninsula right now, but people cut through there when it's not.
Mhm.
I caught 1 fish on the first point of that cove, and just on the back of the Elephant, I caught that big fish. Just on the underspin. They must have been pushing up shad or something. I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah. What color were you throwing?
White.
White. Just
Actually,
pure white?
I was just pure white, and so I was fishing a gold blade at first because those underspins that I bought have gold blades on them, and so I actually changed to a silver blade like minutes before I started catching fish, and I just started hooking into them. I hooked into 2, and then at 3 o'clock I hooked into another one.
Probably changed the flash pattern of that blade under there.
It did something. I don't know.
When you after day 1, so you had 3 fish. Did you know, like going into day 2, did you know that you had a pretty good shot at getting a check or maybe even pulling it out?
Yeah, I figured with the 3 fish that I did the math on like how big my average fish was, and I figured with the 3 fish that I had a good shot that I could get something.
Mm-hmm.
If I could get on 2 more fish, which I figured might have been a struggle, but
Hello? I think we just lost Brandon.
sorry guys.
He came back.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm
Psych.
back. So I figured I could get on something. I actually caught all my fish within about a 200 yard area, in different times. So I would go back and forth trying to go somewhere, and I'd fish through an area, and I'd catch a fish there, and then I'd start working around, and I'd catch a fish in that same area, behind the Elephant. I couldn't get anything in Pirates Cove or the jungles or even behind Horse Island.
So were you chasing bait balls or were you fishing history?
I was fishing history, points, things I knew that maybe I thought. So my first opinion was that the fish are staging up that first stage, and that's what I went into the tournament thinking. It turns out they were pushing bait, but I think some of them were actually still like on the points, because I think that last 4th fish I caught up was pushing up a point and not chasing bait. So it was a little bit of both. I stumbled across one of my fish. I stumbled across with pushing bait. I think 2 of them maybe. The other 2 came on points. It was a little bit different fish doing different things.
Yeah. And you said you pulled off early. You think if you would have finished it out and fished that last hour and a half, that hour and a half could have maybe got you that last fish, put you in that 5 fish category?
So it was I quit like 2.5 hours before the end of the tournament. Yes, I do, because the wind picked up. And every time there was wind is when I caught a fish. I didn't catch a fish when it was calm.
So do you kind of regret that decision of pulling off early?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom called me and was mad at me. Yeah.
She's like, how are we going to buy that macaroni now when you're pulling off the water?
You're dumb. Yeah.
So, Brandon, as far as like a tournament goes, you got 3rd place. Did you feel like as far as the payout, was it decent? Was it worth going down?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay.
That was so much fun. I love the payout. The payout's awesome. I'm just happy to make my money back, man.
Well, to be honest with you, everybody that left there with a cash envelope received their entry fee plus some, other than the 6th and 7th that wound up getting that bonus. But
Yeah.
everybody left with their entry fee.
Which is awesome. I want to go in to challenge myself, not necessarily make the most money. Like I want to go in to push myself. So I got pushed, and that's what I was excited about. That 2-day format really, really pushed me because I'm used to being on the water 8-10 hours, maybe, not 22.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
So with that being said, you taking third off the first event. Does that mean we're going to see you for stops number 2 and number 3?
You're definitely gonna see me in April. I'm gonna try to make it up to. Is it Conscious?
Conscious is where we end for this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna make it up there. I don't know about March because I got things planned. I got work and stuff, but I'm definitely gonna make it the April one. Try it as hard as I can.
You got anything else this year with the nation or any other tournaments you're thinking about doing?
I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm just waiting for things to come out. I
Gotcha.
haven't looked across them.
Yeah. If somebody was wanting to follow you via social media, you got YouTube, Instagram.
I have a
Facebook,
YouTube. It's called Really Rescued. REELLY Rescued.
Yeah, if you get a chance in the comments, will you throw that in there for the audience? That way they can grab you that follow and keep, because you do like catch and cooks. I know you and
Yeah, Aaron and I
do
we do the same. We do
river
some
fishing and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm bummed Aaron didn't catch a fish.
I know, dude. His phone call to me on Saturday when he was hangry and he was talking about going and getting chicken. I was rolling. I was laughing. I was telling Gene about it. I was like, "This boy's hungry. He needs to go get some chicken."
I hope he does better the next tournament, man.
Yeah. Well, he went out the day after the tournament ended, and he wound up catching a fish. So.
Oh yeah, he sent it to me. He's like, "Dude, I caught a fish." Like he texted me or something like that.
Yeah, I think he put too much pressure on himself. He should have just went out and fished like he was having fun.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what it is, but I know he can do better. This guy, he's a great fisherman. He can do better.
Yeah. So we got a question in the comments. It says, "When is the March tourney going to be up on Tourney X?" So those will be posted the first of the month. So for every month that we run those tournaments, the Tourney X will be live. Other than that, Brandon, is there anything else you want to tell us about your experience with the first event?
Dude, it was a blast. The format was amazing. It pushed me. It taught me something because I've never fished like that.
Don't give up. Don't pull off the water.
Yeah, don't give up. Don't get pull off the water. That was stupid of me. I shouldn't have done that. Thank you,
Aaron
guys.
said he crushed him today. You should have been there. It's your loss.
Yeah, he was going on the water. He was going on the water.
All right, Brandon. So we hope to see you on stop number 3 again. On your congratulations for placing the top 3, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Sad that you pulled off day 2. I think we were rooting. There was a lot of people we were rooting for, and you were one we were hoping that would grab that 5th. But I guess fishing, right?
Yeah, I could have done better, man.
So, all right, bud. We appreciate you coming on. We're going to go ahead and move on to second place.
All right, guys.
All
All
right.
right. Thanks,
Chances
Brandon.
of these.
What's up, fellas?
Chance, how we doing, sir?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh, not too bad. Nice banners you got hanging on the wall back there.
Oh yeah, you see him back there?
Yeah,
Second place, Big Bass.
nice. So we were just talking to Brandon, and he was telling us that his main 2 and go-to was an underspin and a chrome, kind of sound like a chrome willow blade.
Mm-hmm.
What was your go-to?
So the funny thing is, the first day, I missed probably a 3-4 pound largemouth on the same thing, silver underspin. But it would get hung up in the rocks, like he was saying. So I thought I was on a rock, and I kind of pop it a little bit, and then it started taking off on me. And I think by that time I didn't have a good hook set, but I tried, and I got him all the way up to the top, and then he spit it out and then turned and went away. So, and that was shallow. I wasn't fishing that deep. That was maybe in 3 feet of water, 4 feet of water. But towards the end of the day, the first day, I was throwing the lipless around, just kind of like rip, and then stop, and then quick retrieve, stop, pull it, just trying to emulate that dying bait fish. And right at 5 o'clock, I caught 4-pound smallmouth. It ended up being 18 inches. So that really saved me and kind of boosted my confidence for the first day. So it's that lipless and then the underspin for me the first day.
And were you chasing bait balls or were you fishing
Nope,
history as
nope.
well?
Yep, I was fishing history, but I was also just targeting those key structures and where I would assume those fish to be staged up, or sunning, or good access points to just drop down deep or chase bait that comes by at those points.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So
So
placing second and big bass. I'm sorry, Gene, were you going to ask a question?
Actually, yeah, that's about where I was going to go to. You 74 inches on 4 fish. You had 2 20s, 2 over 20s.
Yep, 2 a little bit over 20. Two big old largemouth. One of those came on that lipless, right where those bluff walls have the slant on the backside. There was one that was submerged, and it was facing the sunrise, and it was later on in the afternoon. So I was like, man, that's probably been warming up all day. So I threw right at the bottom. Yep, this one right here. I threw right at the bottom of that crevice where that slope is, and sure enough, hooked him with that lipless.
And you were fishing in less than a foot of water?
That one, he was a little deeper. He's probably like 8-10 feet down, right at the bottom of that slope where it goes into the shade. But
Were you letting that lipless? You were just letting it fall?
Yep, that was the lipless right there that I caught him on. It was that orange, and if you tell, his lips are red, so that's a good indicator. But on that one, I let it sink to the bottom of that slope, and I was just pop, brr, 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 and then letting it sink, brr, let it sink, quick rip, just to really emulate that reaction strike and get it to seem like it was a dying bait fish. And man, they were smoking it.
So you would just rip it, pop
It
it,
was
and
almost
just
like I was
let it float.
like fast fishing a jerk bait almost, just like stop, boop, boop. So, and
Just an erratic pattern across.
yep, just an erratic pattern, but I would also stop, let it sink a little bit, hit bottom, pull it back up, pull it back up, pull it back up, let it sink, hit bottom, and rinse and repeat.
So were you cutting across the points? Were you fishing up the points? Were you trying to like pull it
So
down
that
the
big
point?
one, so the wind picked up probably about like maybe 7-8 miles an hour. It wasn't too bad, but it picked up, and I was like, man, I gotta go focus on these wind blown points. So it was right on the backside where the water was calm on that wind blown point. So that the big bass came, right off that bend off that point. But aside from that, man, I was just beating the banks up that I thought they would be, because it seemed like all the fish that I caught were, they weren't on the points, but they were on the swings off the points. So that's where I really tried to key in on them and throw it towards that chunk rock, bounce off any cover that I could, because I was really banking on that reaction strike rather than slow fishing like a drop shot or something, because I knew those big ones would react.
Yeah, and I think I know the spot that you were fishing. Was there any underbrush there?
Nope, all rock.
It's all rock.
Mhm.
And Chance, is that your PB? I was looking at Tourney X and I saw that it says your personal best on there. Is that your PB bass overall?
No, because I had a 22 and a half get DQ'd on a Elephant Butte Derby series.
Okay.
Because it broke my catch board, so I took a picture of it and its mouth wasn't pushed up against anything. So that one got DQ'd. It's actually that mount back there. It's a 711.
Okay.
So that one's my PB probably. So yeah, I mean, they were just two really, really big bass. But that first day I didn't get a bite all day until 5 p.m. and it was a big smallmouth right up next to my kayak in 2 feet of water. And it was
so what you're saying, if we wouldn't have pushed our times to fish a little longer, you would have been technically screwed this tournament.
Yeah, I wouldn't have caught that fish, man. It was 5:02 when I caught that fish. I was on my way out to go load up my kayak. And that was a huge confidence for me because I didn't catch a single thing all day, man. I threw everything. So that's really what made me commit to that lipless and that DT6 bite, because the second 20-inch I caught was on a DT6, little bit deeper.
On the same color or different
Yep,
color?
that one right there.
Red crawl.
Yep, and it's got that pink top, and then it's real bright on the bottom. And the second one I had the second 20-inch was, I think I had 7 minutes left till lines out. So that one was huge for me.
So from what I gather, you kind of like the format that we've presented, where you
guys,
start
yeah,
rolling
the
2 days
format-
with 5 fish.
Yes, because it allows you to fish that afternoon bite.
Yeah,
know, 'cause
which
cut
the
off-
afternoon bite was way better than the morning bite. We
Dude,
had some
there
really
was
good
no
fish
morning
morning, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, that first night we had like 11 fish come in between
Yep.
that 4:30 and 5:30 mark.
Mm-hmm. Because I bet that would have been a whole different leaderboard if it cut off at 3:30.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know a couple people that wouldn't have been on the leaderboard had it not gone longer, because it does allow you to fish that afternoon bite whenever they really pick up and push shallow. So I really, really enjoyed that late, because I don't have lights on mine. So even, somebody that doesn't have lights on their kayak, you can still fish that late afternoon bite. So y'all crushed it on that.
So
or go ahead, Chris.
no, I was just going to ask him his opinion. Like, do we change anything with the series? Would he agree with like taking an extra hour off a Sunday because they do make up that extra time on Saturday? Like
I
his
don't
thoughts and
think
opinion.
that's really necessary, because even lines in 6:30 out at 3:30 on Sunday was perfect too, because then it allows us to go all meet up at a reasonable time for people that have to work and be back somewhere. So I thought it was perfect. I thought you guys did an amazing job on that.
So, will we be seeing you in March?
Yep,
Or...
I'm going to try to make it to all of them that I can. Every
Okay.
tournament that I can this year, I'm going to try to be every
You got
one.
anything else, any other series here in New Mexico, or maybe outside of New Mexico you're looking at?
I'm going to try to get on all of them, dude. I'm going to try to do the bass. I'm going to try to do all of them.
Awesome. Okay.
So, because man, I started fishing not this last fall, but the fall before that. Just picked up a spinning rod and a swim bait and went to the creek and fell in love with it, dude. So just in this past year has been so much fun for me, and I'm already getting into tournaments, so it's a blast.
Yeah. What was your final dollar reading after winning second in Big Bass?
So it was $665 payout for Big Bass, and I believe $650 for second place. So around $1,200. Might have been a little under.
So it was
Yeah.
It was $520 for Big Bass and $665 for second.
Oh, that's right. Well, was there a sponsor on the Big Bass too?
Yeah, so Gene threw in 100 because originally it would have been 420.
Okay, yeah. So it was like 1180, I think, was payout. Which, dude, the payout is, you can't beat that payout. That's why it's like, what's really cool about it is that, if you do good in these tournaments, you get paid out a lot, but it also brings a lot of competition and heavy hitters. So it makes it even more competitive and more fun, because everybody's friendly with each other. It's not, so it just makes it that much more fun, because then there's real competition, real money on the line, and it just makes it such a better experience.
A little bit more pressure to catch those fish, which we've noticed a lot. When we went, even going to a high payout tournament, me and Gene do it to ourselves all the time. The extra pressure we put on ourselves, we'd be like, hey, we've got to make that top 20.
Yep.
We get so much pressure that we go stupid or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it really allows you to like really hone in and focus, especially with the 2-day format. I'm a big fan of that, because day one, I caught one big smallmouth at the end. And that was the only fish I caught all day. So that gives you time to go home, reiterate your game plan, figure out what you want to do. And, I was like, okay, got the big ones to commit on day one on reaction bites. So that whole second day, I was power fishing that lipless, that DT6 all day long. And it ended up catching me the big girls that, really mattered. So that's what I loved about it, dude. It was perfect.
Very nice.
So do you like having the 5 fish limit for 2 days?
Yep, I like it, because then, if you have a strategy to where, maybe just slow fish some small baits in your first day, then it allows you to, if you catch your 5 in the first day, then you can spend that second day to really try to, like Chris said, upgrade that bag, start throwing those bigger baits, those reaction baits and stuff. So I thought that was, that makes it perfect for anything like that.
Yeah, that was kind of the thinking behind that whole scheme of like 5 fish over 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Because then it makes it interesting.
If you can catch those 5 fish day one, you're going to really see a good angler come alive as they start upgrading those fish, as they start, upgrading profile and changing color.
I've seen people win tournaments on 5 little fish, but then that 2-day makes it really interesting, because it's like, who's catching the big fish, right? It's not who's catching the most 15-inch bass.
Yeah, because I told you guys at the awards, the smallest fish caught was a 12.5. The next closest was the 14 flat. So basically, we were catching, pound and a quarter or better fish
Yep.
all weekend.
Yep. And that's, man, all the fish in the submissions were big fish, like most of them, at least not all of them, but they were all big smallmouth, big largemouth. Like there was nothing that was small really, except a couple of them. But man, it really comes down to like who's catching the biggest fish out of everybody.
Anthony B says in comments, I was fishing next to Chance and he worked hard and earned it.
Awesome. Thank you, dude. I really did, man. I probably threw at least 2,000 casts that second day. And my hand over the top of the bait caster like that, trying to like rip it, man, I couldn't even close my hand afterwards.
Long drive home, one-handed.
But yeah, dude, it was a blast, and it was very hard fishing because and you learn a lot on those 2-day tournaments because you have a lot of time to like reflect that night in between, and you get to figure out next time, how about I slow fish, grind that fish out, catch 4 the first day, and then focus on those reaction bites the second day.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I was very happy with the format, and you guys did a great job. You guys were there. Like I lost my.
Oh, you should have seen the background. I was running around like a chicken with his head cut off. I was fucking freaking out. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah. And as the angler, that's all behind the scenes. We don't see that, but that makes
definitely a new appreciation for the dedicated directors that put these on all the time. Like,
yeah,
they
man,
definitely got their shit together, and I did not. I played as I did, but
yeah, and the fact you guys are on the water, like God forbid anything happens to anybody, you guys could zoom over there. It was just
Well, on that, speaking on that, we actually had an angler that blew up his prop, got stuck on the middle of the lake, and he called us, and within 10 minutes we were to him, and we basically said, just grab the side of the boat. I dropped the trolling motor in the water. I said, I'm just going to idle you over to that point, which put him back to the bank that he had launched from. I said, I'm going to pull you to that point, and everything from here is on you. But we got him out of the middle of the lake.
Yep, you got him out of trouble, and that's what you guys are there for, and you guys did awesome on that too. Because, man, I saw you guys cutting up and down, like just doing whatever up the lake, and I was like, because like my trolling motor died in the middle of the lake on day 2, and I had to paddle 300 yards to get to the point that I was going to fish.
If you would have called us, we would have come and helped.
I wasn't I wasn't in trouble or anything. So
at Ute is a little bit bigger. We're bringing another co-director for that, and we're going to wind up having 2 bass boats for Ute Lake.
Yeah, and that makes it, it makes like a little bit of stress off your mind because now if anything happens, you could just call somebody and they'll be right there to help you.
And it's going to be a little bit tougher for you because the phone service at Ute really sucks.
Yeah, so everybody's going to be sandbagging.
Yeah. But we're going to do our best to. I've got some long-range walkies up. Hopefully I can throw on each boat and we can kind of communicate that way.
Yeah. I thought it was amazing, dude.
Well,
so
we appreciate it, and congratulations on your big bass and second place.
Yep, appreciate you guys putting on such a good thing. And, like I said, the payouts are amazing. I don't think I've seen a tournament in New Mexico that pays out that much for kayaks.
Oh, there isn't. Chance, if anybody in the comment section wants to follow you throughout the year of 2025, you got any social medias that?
So I got my Instagram right here, right below my name. So that's really where I just post my videos. Just my catches, really. Don't really do any type of anything else. It's more like a camera roll.
Considering doing some YouTube, maybe?
We'll see. I just got a GoPro, so got the Hero 13. So we'll see if I can.
There you go.
But I got the GoPro curse right now. I've been 4 times. I've done 4 fishing trips and haven't caught a fish on the GoPro, so I took it off.
I know how that feels.
So
Anthony B in the comments says congrats.
Yep, appreciate it.
All right, bud. Again, congratulations on your almost $1,200 winnings across the board there for our first event. We're gonna go ahead and bring in Dante and kind of drill him a little bit and see what he did.
Heck yeah, dude. All right, thank you guys for having me on, dude.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks again.
All right, see y'all.
Yeah. Oh, look at the champ. What is going on, man? All right. So I don't know. Can you hear our conversation when we bring him in?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, they were talking mad shit about you, bro.
That's all right.
So kind of take us through, Dante, what you found and how you, because you were the only one uh across the 2 days that wound up filling your bag, and you were actually a 5+1. So you actually submitted us 6 fish. Kind of
Yeah.
kind of tell us what you were doing and what you honed in on.
Well, for starters, Friday was terrible because I didn't catch a single fish. I didn't even have a bite. Not even like, like a, ooh, that might have been a bite. Nothing. Um, so Saturday was mainly, back to the drawing board, and I ended up accidentally stumbling upon my fish because I was just graphing around and I saw a school of shad, and right underneath them, boop, 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 couple dots. I fired out there, and then that's when I caught my first fish. I think it was like 15 inches, and from there I started following around the school of shad, and it was like an area that made kind of like a bowl, just like a giant bowl. And I think what was happening is these fish would pull up and push these shad up against this wall, and then they would pull back out and then push them back, because I literally sat there for 2 days casting, and I just kept catching fish. Not a lot, I'm not saying caught like 20 fish, but I'm saying like throughout the duration of the tournament, I would fish it, catch a couple fish, then I would leave a little bit, not too far, then I would come back, do it again, catch another couple fish. Because
So
I
you were
did
you were kind
catch.
of like rotating some spots that you had found, or were you chasing that bait ball from little section to section that they were running to?
No, I was basically chasing that school of shad in that particular area. Then I would move and I would chase another school, and then I would come back, because what I was doing is I was basically like school hopping, right? I would focus on the school of shad in that area. Then I would leave and cast out another school of shad, because it seemed like they would chill in this area. From my understanding, they would be in this area, and then these bass would push them up into that, like, between. Well, it seemed like they were bouncing between 12 to 20 feet of water, and it seemed like it was always like it was like fishing a cove, but you weren't fishing like towards the bank. It was like in the dead center of the bowl, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they would push them up there, and I'd fire out there. I would kind of fan cast a little bit, and I would catch one or miss one, get a bite, and after like maybe 30 minutes or so, then I would rotate to another side of the lake where I found another cut that had shad in it, and I'll do
Yeah.
that. I'll do that all day, back and forth, back and forth, back and
So
forth.
so it would reload.
Yeah.
You leave long enough that it would reload. Sorry.
Very good.
It's actually one of the anglers that might come fish with us out of Florida that's trying to call me right now.
Oh yeah, come on by.
Yeah, we'll take their money, right? So what was your go-to bait that you were throwing? It sounds like underspins, lipless, stuff like that was a big key player for third and second. What was your go-to?
Anything so honestly, it was kind of like junk fishing, but it wasn't. It kind of was like power fishing, but it wasn't, because I used 4 different swim baits, sizes, 3 jigs, and a crankbait.
So it was just kind of like time dependent on which one.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would rotate through them. So I would throw a small swim bait, I would throw a medium-sized swim bait, then I'd throw a big swim bait, then I would throw a jig, then I would throw. Like I said, I knew where these fish were. It's just like, well, what did they want to eat? Because one
Right.
thing I noticed is I did not catch a single largemouth on a 3-inch swim bait or a 4-inch swim bait. They wanted like a 6-inch swim bait.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then when I downsized, I would catch smallmouth. So in my mind, and then the jig too, for the largemouth. But so in my mind, I was like, they're there, they're just being picky on what they want. So for me, it's like I would pull up there and I would literally rotate through my lures and be like, okay, I'm trying to catch whatever bass is down there. If it's a smallmouth, he's probably gonna want this. If it's a largemouth, he's probably gonna want this. So I had to just rotate through my lures until I figured out which one they wanted.
Yeah. Did you notice if they were bite dependent on color? Was there like a certain
No.
color?
No, for me it was size. Color could care less on color. Like even a jig, they didn't want like little jig. They wanted a big jig.
Like a big
Because
half
I submitted what 6 fish,
Yeah.
but I caught more than that. Unfortunately, though they're only like 12 inches.
Yeah. So that you're catching fish. Yeah.
Yeah. So in my mind, though, I only caught like 7 fish, but I did catch some other ones that are just like whatever. That's not gonna help, throw back, whatever.
Should have threw him in your pops' boat.
Poor guy, he was all over the lake.
I figured he would have swooped in next to you on day 2.
No, we have like
He'd
this
pull
rule.
out the old dad card and say, "All right, I'm trumping now."
We have like this thing where like, we're not gonna take fish from each other.
Oh yeah, that
There's been like even like the night before, we have a conversation like, hey, where are you going? Right? What are you doing? What's your plan? Because I'm not gonna want to run over you, and I don't want him running over me. So we don't want to take fish from each other. So yeah, so we don't. That's just our rules. That's just the way we roll.
yeah. Well,
Were
kinda sounds
you-
like go ahead.
Were you finding? So do you use live scope or
Mm-mm.
no?
If I had live scope, I could have chased those fish. I probably would have smashed.
So you were using 2D to chase those balls?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
But-
impressive.
Yeah, I don't personally though. I don't really like live scope, but
Mhm.
that's for a different conversation.
No,
I,
that's impressive, man. A lot of people that run out and grab that box, they don't ever spend no time with it. So being able to do that's definitely an extra thing in your toolbox,
Yeah, but because what do you got? What 10, 11 years on New Mexico lakes now on 2D sonar? I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen you look down and go, oh, there's fish there. Drop a drop shot and pull up a 15, 16-inch fish. Like, you know what you're looking at. So
Yeah.
honestly, would live scope even be to your benefit at this point?
It could have necessarily helped me to save more time on fan casting. Because, like I said, I knew where they were, I knew where they should have been, and where they're going in and out and moving out of these cuts, these draws or whatever. But the thing is, it's like I said, I don't like live scope, but if I had it, it probably would have saved me from fan casting,
Yeah. Or it could have put you in the boat of that you're staring at a screen for an hour, throwing on their head and they're not biting, which is
Yeah.
more frustrating than just fan casting.
Yeah, I did watch a guy. There was a guy actually. He was probably like maybe 200 yards from me, and he was staring at his screen and he was following the other ball of bait that was around.
That was probably Sean.
There's quite a bit of balls, and they all had bait. I mean, they all had bass with them, and I watched one guy and he went all the way around me just chasing his bait, but I don't think he ever caught a fish though.
I think that was Sean. That was day 2, right?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I just remember. I was like that dude. I was thinking, look at that dude. I was like, oh, that dude's probably gonna smash him. but like, I don't know. I didn't ever see him catch a fish.
Yeah.
He might have.
So-
I don't know.
Thoughts and opinion. What how did you like the way we set out the format for this series?
Great, amazing. It's great. I love the 5 fish 2 days. I don't know. I feel like it's my style. Like I rather try to catch 5 big fish than a ton of fish, even though I actually didn't catch no big fish this tournament. It was just more consistency. But I do prefer the 5 fish for 2 days because, they always say you can't win it the first day, but you can lose it. But with this format, you can't lose it or win it the first day, and you have a chance to come back if you're down.
Yeah, that's good input right there, man.
Yeah, because if we would have had guy 0, 0 day 1 come back and catch 5 fish day 2, I mean that'll upset the whole leaderboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go from dead last to winning it or taking second for sure.
Yeah.
But when I was putting it all together, I was thinking, in what format can I put together to make New Mexico anglers better? And I think the 5-fish format is going to do that because, like I said, if I was fishing my own tournaments, I would find 5 fish, put on the board right away, then spend the next 16 hours upgrading.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think the next 2 tournaments, 5 fish are going to come fast. That March and April tournament.
Oh yeah, yeah. In my opinion, I felt like the lake was still a little bit in that winter pattern, a little bit, not fully, of course, because I'm not gonna sit here and say that all the fish were mostly deep, because obviously a lot of the second place and third place, they caught their fish pretty shallow. But I don't know, from my experience, a lot of the things I graphed, they were deep. Most of the bass are deep, and most of my bass are deep, or all of them, I should say. So hopefully,
Corey Scott wrote in our comments. Dante kept me going. Kept saying, "Don't give up." Thanks for that.
Hell yeah! Never give up. Never give up. Keep going.
So
it can always happen.
Yeah, you never know when that those 2 20-inch fish are going to pop up, or you're going to slam that 22. You may flip in a little bait next to a tree. You don't know what's sitting there.
Oh yeah.
And that fish can game change anybody across the board.
No, exactly. I mean, look, and like this is a good example. I'll give you an example. I fished on Friday, right? And I didn't get a single bite. And so allowing me to go back to the drawing board and start from scratch. Instead of being like, oh, I can't catch a fish, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm just gonna go back to the drawing board, and it ended up working out. It went from I don't know what I'm gonna do to oh look, there's fish right there. Boom, there's my pattern.
Yeah.
Just like that, snap of a finger, and things just change in seconds.
Yeah. So What Align's got a question for you, Dante. He wants to know what kind of graph you use.
It's a Humminbird. The Humminbird, not the Solix, it's the Helix 9.
Helix 9.
Helix 9 Gen 3.
Gen 3.
Yeah.
Then Fishing with Ike is got a question. Dante, why'd you stop posting on YouTube? I knew that question was going to come up.
Yeah, I was waiting for that question. It's mainly because, when you post you catching fish in certain areas and you try to go back to those areas and it's filled with people. Like the Zia tournament for me is always, it's because I posted like I think 2 of my wins on YouTube, and the last time I fished the Zia tournament, there was like 5 or 6 guys in that same cove. When 2 years prior to that, I had that cove all by myself, multiple times, multiple years, year after year.
People using it as reference and not actually going out taking the time locating the fish.
Yeah, and I, I mean, here, for me, it's like here's the thing, that's fine, but there's bass all over the butte,
Oh yeah, for sure. Like my October stuff that I put out on YouTube, it's mainly community holes that I hit.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's definitely bass all over the butte. You don't have to watch my videos and then just like go and that's where you're gonna fish your tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, if that's how you want to fish, that's fine. But for me, if I were to give advice to someone who's like, hey, I want to go and catch a fish at Elephant Butte, I'll tell you right now, there's literally fish all over the butte because I've won tournaments up by the dam, I've won tournaments by the jungles, up by McCrae, I've caught tons of fish up by Rock Canyon. So there's fish everywhere, but my advice would be go out there, put your time in, and find areas that people aren't hitting so hard.
Yep. Find the unpressured areas is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. You find the unpressured areas, and you will catch fish. It doesn't need to be where I fish or where anyone else fishes. You literally could find a good pattern and good fish around the whole lake.
Yeah. So Breaking Bass, Dante, it says after not catching anything on Friday, did that help you eliminate any of your baits to throw for Saturday or Sunday?
it was mainly not necessarily baits. It was mainly so on Friday. On Friday, I covered a lot of water. Right, I went from all the way to the dam, all the way up by Horse Island, the jungles. Like I was down covering water. And when I got back that night, I was like, okay, I covered this much water and I didn't catch a single fish. I didn't get a single bite. What am I doing? And I was trying different baits. And so to me, what that told me, it wasn't a bait problem. It was a speed problem. I felt like I was covering too much water and I was going too fast. Because to me, statistically speaking, if I fish that much of Elephant Butte and I didn't get a single bite, what does that mean? You passed them.
Yeah, you're blowing over the top of them.
Yeah, you're going over the top of them. So instead on Saturday, I decided to choose a small area and slow down. That's when I started looking deeper, and I started to slow down, and that's when I came across my fish. Because I'm like, like I said, in my mind, there's no way someone could fish that much of the Butte and not get a bite.
Yeah.
And especially if you're rotating baits. I was constantly trying swim baits, jigs, drop shotting, jerk baiting, spinner bait, chatter bait, you name it, I was throwing it. I was just rotating. And I'm like, if I'm rotating this much and I'm not getting bit, it's because I passed them.
Yeah. To me, it kind of felt like all of the bass that I caught were on that verge of gorging, but they weren't on that fast move right before they start pushing up for the spawn. You know what I mean? Like they're not 100% dedicated to pushing up, but they're at that stage that they're chasing that bait, but they don't want to work too hard for it.
Yeah.
Would you have to agree with that?
Yeah. I a lot all the bass, and all the bass that I caught, so I said I was throwing multiple swim baits, right? But it's like I wasn't like throwing it out there and just like, just normal. When I graphed over that school of shad and the bass underneath them, the only way I would be able to get a bite is just throw it out there. Different sizes of swim baits, throw it out there, then reel like this or drag it. Slow. I mean slow. Like I mean so slow it hurts.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I could get bit.
Friday that I got there, I was bebopping around the river because I didn't want to mess up anybody's spots. And I was like, screw it. I'm gonna go over by the dam. And I just kind of walked down that portion right by the ropes. I was throwing one of my black and blue ice Cincos, and I would throw it out into about 15 foot of water, and I would let it sink. I could see it flash all the way to the bottom. Then I would drag that son of a gun at the slowest rate I could. And within an hour, I had 3 smallmouth, 14 plus, and a 7-pound catfish. And I was like, well, this would be a good spot to come back and tournament fish.
Yeah. It literally seemed like you better put that bait in front of that fish's mouth or you ain't going to get bit. You better land on his head or he ain't going to bite it. That's what it truly felt like. Because I really felt like I was surrounded by a bunch of largemouth and smallmouth. But it's like I can only get like 1 or 2 of the school to bite at a time.
So were your bites, were they like minutes apart or hours apart? Like when you were fishing, would it be like a bite an hour, bite every 2 hours?
It'd be like boom, boom, boom. And then I did have a couple fish that I caught 1 an hour, and then an hour went by, and then I caught another one. It definitely did slow down on Sunday.
Well, our wind slowed down as well.
Yeah, but that also could be I was throwing bigger stuff. So, that could have been weeding out. Because in the morning, I went like 2 hours without a bite.
Yeah.
When did you get your final fish, your 5th fish?
I don't remember.
Did you at that point, was that when you decided to kind of upgrade size?
Well, I went well. First off, I had four. First for starters, I had 4 fish going into day 2, and I started off going big right away. So I know my fifth fish didn't come real early because I know I went 2 hours without catching a fish, and then I think it might have been 11 or noon, maybe. It took a long time, but like I said, it's because I was throwing a bigger bait. I wasn't throwing, like a little 3 inch, 4 inch swim bait.
Mm-hmm.
So Fishing with Ike wants to know, did your pops fish the tournament as well, and how did he do?
Yeah, he did fish the tournament as well. I think, what did he catch? 1 fish, I think.
Yeah, he submitted 1 fish.
Yeah,
I think he was in
Yeah.
ninth, so he, beat half
Yeah,
the field, over half the field with 1 fish.
Yeah.
yeah.
We had exactly 50% zero because we had 22 anglers on the water and we had 11 people submit fish. So the
Yeah.
fishing was rough. It was tough. There was a lot of hours to fish, but if you didn't key on some of those key points of where they were going to be set up, I don't think many people
Yeah.
kind of did their
Eh,
cold water research.
Yeah, and honestly, like I said, I truly think the people who maybe caught 1 fish or didn't catch anything at all, I think what happened there is, I think, like what happened to me on Friday, they just passed them. They passed
They
them
just
because,
need to slow
like,
down just a little bit.
yeah, like slow down and go slow because, like I said, I felt like I was around a good amount of bass, but it felt like if I didn't drag it in front of his nose or hop it or whatever, if it didn't land like right here, he wasn't gonna eat it.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you try any scent like power bait or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that helped any, or you really didn't notice?
I really didn't notice. A lot of the fish I caught. For me, I just think these fish had so much food to eat or bait to eat that they didn't like want to go out and eat your bait.
Yeah.
Because when I'd catch a smallmouth or a largemouth, they would come up and just spitting out shad everywhere.
Yeah, because
They'd be, like,
everything that
so
everybody
fat.
submitted were footballs. I mean, they had gorged bellies.
They would be so fat they're getting ready to pop, and I just, like I said, I just think why do you need to go out and go attack that crankbait or go attack that swim bait or go attack that jig when you could just sit here right here and have a feast,
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you're sitting here and someone kept delivering you steak, would you move? Right? You ain't moving, bro.
Eventually, I'd have to because I'd start throwing up.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I think we found that out with the white bass too, that we were catching. Like, Chris caught damn near a 3-pound white bass, and so I'm pretty sure they were also full of eggs, but they were eaten for sure.
Yeah, we got tied up into that for a few hours, but that was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So me and you, Dante, we had talked on the phone a couple days ago, and you were the ones that were like, because you guys do live up by the Albuquerque area, and it is a little bit of a drive. Do you find it beneficial to cut down day 2 by an hour? What, due to work reasons?
Oh yeah, for sure, easily, especially because you have such an early start time and it's such a late lines out on Saturday. It's you could, I feel like Sunday is plenty of time.
Yeah. But does
And
that give
it
you enough
gives,
time if you had a bag of 5 for Saturday to come back Sunday? Does that give you enough time to upgrade?
yeah. hmm Yeah, I feel like it gives you enough time to upgrade. And not only that, it's like 5 fish, right? It's not 10. It's 5 fish, which is normally 5 fish is normally one day. You're
Mhm.
literally getting a whole day plus, because of how early you could start on Saturday and how late, fish into the night. That's a long day.
It
If
is
you
a
take
long day.
advantage of that, that's a long day, and you get Sunday. I think that's a really good amount of time.
Yeah, 'cause
And especially
honestly, if I was to fish that event, I wouldn't have launched till like 10.
especially it's cool too because if you're not I'm gonna wake up at 4 and go fishing, that's cool. Wake up at 10, and guess what? You've got a 12-hour day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I think it's cool. I think it's perfect, and I think cutting an hour would really help for people who come out of town. Who have that 3-4 hour drive.
Yeah. Anything about the series, Dante, that you don't like or that you would like to see changed? Do you find that we've kind of like between the phone calls that me and Gene have had over the last 2 months prior to putting these tournaments together, do you think that we're heading in a right direction with what we're doing?
Oh yeah, and I think you guys got a lot like going for the for the first event. You guys were on a boat on call down at out there helping people. It's like I think for your especially first event, you ran it very well. And
Yeah.
like I said, I'm a big fan, and I will say this 100 times, but I'm a big fan of the 5 fish 2 days. I
Yeah.
think it's the way to go for sure. But
So does that
Awesome.
mean we're going to see you for next month in April as well?
yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
With that said, if moving in for the 2026 season, if we were to take and make it a 6 event series with points and AOY, would you be a person that would be committed to a series like this?
Yeah, because I wasn't like I said, um, and another thing, the updates. I really like the updates on Tourney X, the reminders,
Yeah.
because sometimes I would question myself. I'd be like, "What time was Lions out?" I was like, "I swear I read the rules. It said it was 3:30," and then I got the notification for you. It said, "Remember, anglers Lions out 3:30." I was like, "Perfect. That's what I needed."
Yeah. And I think that was like an hour or two before lines out anyway. I think is when I sent
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, it was perfect because even though if you myself, like I said, I read over the rules, but I still would be like question
Yeah,
myself.
when you get that centered focus or you're hyper focused on fishing, everything else is just a blur.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly. And like I said, especially coming off of Friday and not catching anything, my mind was like a damn train. Like it
Mhm.
was like on overtime. It's like, what did I do wrong? You know? Because one thing I believe in is fish are always biting. If you're not catching them, it's because you're doing something wrong. There's no such thing as, oh, it's tough fishing. It's usually because you're not doing something right. You
Or
know,
just fishing
the
too
fish are
fast,
always eating, just like we're always eating.
right?
So I always think there's always a pattern, and the fish are always eating, and there's always a way to catch them. It's up to you to figure it out. And sometimes you make it happen, sometimes you can't. But I don't know. I truly believe bass are always eating. So if you go out and you don't catch them, then you gotta reflect on what you
Yeah.
need to do.
Go back, sit down at the drawing board, and figure out what you can
Yeah,
improve on. Yeah, I agree with that
yeah.
100%. So how does it feel to come in and just wreck, the first tournament coming out of the gate? Does that make you feel proud?
Yeah, but I don't think I feel like I just got lucky to catch a limit because if you look at my bag, I didn't have a really good bag. Like I didn't have big fish.
Yeah.
I had 317s, like a 15 and a 14 or something. I had 81 inches. I had a limit, yes. But if you look at people who took second place, third place, even I think fourth to fifth, they had 18, 19, 20 inches.
Hmm.
The only
But
thing I did was catch a limit. That's it.
yeah, that
But
and,
everyone
and
else was
sometimes
out
that's what
fishing.
it takes is if you can grab that limit.
Yeah, but everyone else was out. In my mind, everyone else was out fishing me because I was like, "Where's the big fish?" you
Yeah.
know?
So on day two, when I turned the leaderboard off at noon, did you start
Mhm.
to sweat? Like you didn't know what they were catching? That make you
No,
fish harder?
no, no. I didn't. I didn't sweat. I uh, I I've fished tournaments long enough that I know anything can happen. You know, what was it? Let me think. I think it was the last Dia tournament I fished. I think it was. Um, I didn't I didn't have a my fifth fish was at like 255. Then I caught a 20 incher at 240, and the tournament ended at 3
Yeah.
or something like that. It was like 5 or 10. It was like 5 or 10 minutes before the tournament was over. So and also know if you look at the tournament, I mean, if you look at the leaderboard, you should use it as more of like a reference instead of like, um, like take it with a grain of salt. If you're gonna look at the leaderboard, it should be more like how is the fishing going for everyone, right? Because there's a lot of people who sandbag anyway.
Yeah. Start getting
Just like
people that
just
are
like when I was
uploading real quick. You know what I mean? If you look at times that they upload and when they caught the fish, it kind of gives you a reference of like, okay, this is a good bite window. This isn't a good bite window.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just depends on how you use it as a tool. I wouldn't necessarily rely on it. Like, was it the first day when it says I was leading? I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, someone has a bag. I just got to fish. I feel like I had to fish harder.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there. Like who's sandbagging?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't. I try not to pay attention too much to the leaderboard because I don't think it necessarily helps me. Like, because like you said, even it shows a time window of like how the fish are biting. But if you talk to all three of us in top three, we've literally discussed different patterns and different things we've done.
Yeah. And
And
on in three different sections of the lake as well.
no, exactly. And your bite window, that's why you kind of have to just pay attention to what's going on with your fish and stay connected with your fish. Because if after tournament turns like, oh, I didn't catch a fish I caught a fish first thing in the morning, nothing the rest of the day. I caught fish all in the evening only, but your fish might be biting in the afternoon.
Yeah,
From
and
11 to 1.
That's why our
You know?
practice window 2 days leading up to the event is 6:30 to 1 p.m. It kind of narrows in those windows. Like if you want to get on those, you got to get out there and practice. Because at 1,
Yeah.
you got to put your rod in the holder and get back to the bank. So I think, do you think that played a little bit of kind of like your strategy on going into day 1 with like a really short practice window?
Actually, I liked it. I liked it because it basically like it helped where like you could get a taste of what's going on, but at the same time, if someone can't practice, they're not completely out of it,
Yeah, kind of leave
because you
everybody.
can't just spend a whole 12-hour days on the water, 12 hours a day on the water, and literally, gain like multiple patterns.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
I've talked to a few people and they're like, well, why don't you just eliminate practice completely and do like a 30-day no fish? And I was like, well, that's kind of rough. There's a lot of tournament fishing that happens. And that's when I got with Gene, and that's when we're like, okay, we're not even going to have an information rule. So if somebody walked up to you and they started giving you information, we've seen this twice in the 2 weeks with bass, with 2 people getting disqualified over anglers coming up to them and they just spill their guts. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
I got a
through
different
that
opinion on that. Shit's already out there. Everybody's getting information from somebody, and I got a theory. 50% is doing it intentionally, 25% is doing it unintentionally, and the other 25%, you pretty well beat them when you showed up. And that's my information rule.
Yeah. To sit there and to talk to somebody about something, I that's kind of rough to say like, oh, you're cheating. Like, well, if they come up to me and they talk like, how is that my fault? You know what I mean?
Well, and
Yeah.
you'll learn too, like, why take people's advice? Because half the time it's going to lead you down a rabbit trail you don't want to go.
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah.
But as an angler, it's up to you to weed all that other junk out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I I never ask for information ever. Like not even fun fishing.
Oh
Ever.
no, fun fishing is
I
just go out and see what you can catch.
yeah, but I mean like just overall, it doesn't matter from fun fishing, tournament fishing. I never ask because it's kind of like I like kind of putting the puzzle pieces together. If I'm gonna go somewhere that I've never been to, usually my question, I usually if I'm gonna ask anything, it's gonna be what kind of bait fish is in the water, what kind of cover is in the water, what kind of bass am I dealing with? Is it largemouth, smallmouth? Is it northern strain or is it Florida strain? Because that's different. And but no, I never ask for information because, like you're saying, it'll take you down a rabbit hole. Because I did like, years ago. I used to ask when I was like 11 or 12, you know, but I caught myself going down a rabbit hole, and as I got older, nah, I learned that just doesn't help anything. It's better just
Yeah.
to go out there and just put the puzzle pieces yourself, you know, and also you have to fish your strength. If someone says, "Hey, I'm catching them deep. Go to this point, throw this bait, go, and you're gonna catch them." Well, if you never fished deep in your entire life, and you don't know how fish set up, you don't know how to read your graph. Like maybe you have a little graph and you know a little bit about it. You go out there,
You're gonna get skunked because that's
yeah, you're
that's
gonna
not
get
your
skunked
go-to
because
or your norm.
exactly. Instead of don't be asking for information. Go out there and figure out a pattern that's your strength. Like maybe you can find them cranking points. Maybe you can find them flipping jigs in the back of coves and trees. Maybe you could find them um on bluff walls. You know, like I don't know, but I think people should stick with what they could do. You know, and just learn. Because the more
Yeah,
you
I
learn,
agree.
you know, the better you get.
Yeah, because we had an angler a couple of years ago that was really struggling to catch any fish at all. Then I finally told him, I was like, you need 4 rods, find 4 baits that you want to throw, learn those, like get proficient with those 4 baits, then expand your tackle box. I was like, because as of right now, you're throwing 30 things at them and you still can't catch fish. Find 4 baits that you want to learn them. Then once
Yeah.
you get real proficient with those, add one to the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And he went
Yeah,
from
because
catching no fish to like actually catching limits.
yeah, and that's how you should do it because that's how you become a better fisherman. If you're sitting there buying a new lure every time someone tells you they're catching on this, you're gonna end up nowhere.
I
It's
spent a
better
couple
just
years going down the YouTube channels, oh, this catches, oh, this catches. So you buy all that stuff. And
Mhm.
then to be honest, you don't ever learn how to throw it. You don't ever get proficient with it because you got 100 different things to do.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly.
yeah, you're spot on right there, man, with figure something out. Don't go buy a new lure every week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, shoot,
exactly.
I showed up with 1 rod and reel, and I literally grabbed 2 baits the whole time we were there, and that's all I threw. And we literally just started catching fish. Like that, I don't know. Out of what he had, that's what looked good to me, and it's like, well, that's I know I can catch fish on it, so I started throwing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, a big part of fishing, and people talk about oh these fish they're not biting this fish that whatever. If you think about it, a lot of times you're not catching fish because of you. You know, it's all in here. You know,
Yeah.
um you need to be throwing baits that you're confident in. You know, you have confidence. I feel like psychology plays a really big role in fishing.
Oh, of
You know,
course.
especially when to make those minor adjustments and get it done.
Your pops just texted me. He's like, "Are you guys talking about me?" No, Robert, we're not talking about you. Breaking Bass says, well, we've all said it. Just fish your strengths. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Terry was one of the guys when I first met him. I think he was in that boat as well. That he got so overwhelmed with, what do I throw and how do I throw it, and he would just he would dump his tackle box in the water. And I think I sat with him for a couple hours. I think it was you at one of the nation uh, tournaments, and I was like, Just set this up. It's all basic stuff. And I was like, just fish, have fun, slow down a little bit, and you'll start catching fish. Then he winds up pulling a 19-inch fish in, like that same tournament that, on day 2 from that. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
so
Yeah, you just
um,
if someone could just learn a top water, middle column, and a bottom bait, you'd probably be all right.
yeah, no,
You know, like
for us on
if
this last tournament, it was a moving bait, but you couldn't burn it, or something that we could drag on the bottom. Then,
Yeah.
it was bebop in between main lake points. Then what we noticed it right at the end is, and we smoked the white basses. We found like 7 large balls of bait that were stuck, and we just sat there and back and forth.
yeah, hell yeah.
But, if you got nothing to add, Dante, it was great having you on. Definitely a lot that you spilled your guts on if people were paying attention. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Is there any social medias or anything? If somebody wanted to follow you, do they
No, I don't got any social media, but
social
I think
media?
I don't know. Did I see a comment that said something about you?
Oh, they wanted to know. It says, do you guys think that there's going to be a top water bite at you?
Mm, I don't know. Maybe it's. I feel like if they're shad chasers, possibly, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I
I
I wouldn't put my money on it. No.
No, I
Yeah,
wouldn't. I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either. But I
the only
mean,
time I've seen a topwater bite there has been more like late summer, that August, September, and I've seen them blow up a little bit in the reeds over by the state park.
yeah, I've I've seen them hit top water early there, but you have to be there when they're like pushing shad up on a point or something.
Yeah,
Like
if,
it's
if
kind
you
of like
can
a
if you can
timing.
find if you can find where those shad are busting the top of the water,
Yeah,
for sure I
Oh,
would throw a top water and maybe
we
yeah.
say that, and Richard caught a 6-pound smallmouth throwing a damn buzzbait by a buoy a year ago.
so like
Yeah,
I
I
said,
mean,
it just
hey, it's fishing, right? Sometimes it goes against the book.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a little kid out there throwing a power worm and he catches a 12-pound largemouth in a tree.
I'm not saying I did or didn't throw top water when I was at the Butte. Just
Sorry, what'd
saying.
you say? Oh yeah, the top water. Yeah, I think top water. If you get on any type of top water bite in the early season, I think it's a timing thing. Right place, right time.
So Dante, I guess if they wanna follow you on social media, they tune in here after the next tournament, right?
Yeah, if I guess if I'm back, if I can, something good happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't got no social media.
I guess you'll just have to be our highlight on the NMKBF site. We'll just have to start posting for you.
But yeah, if you guys invite me, anytime you guys invite me, I'll do my best to get back on here. That's nice.
Yeah,
It's cool
well,
talking about fishing.
yeah. So we had before we get off here real quick, we had the other two that were on here. They kind of want to get back together and just do like an hour roundtable shooting the shit fishing talk. So maybe we might just do that next week where we can get all 3 of you guys in here and get you guys to discuss and what you guys did together and try to answer some more questions from chat.
Yeah, always down to answer questions and help anyone that I can. I'll be down for sure.
We kind of went over our hour by about 20 minutes, so I think we're going to go ahead and call it here. Again, Dante, congratulations on champion for stop number 1. Amazing.
you.
I love the fact that you got the 5 fish plus 1. That just shows how strong of an angler that you are, and we're really excited to see what we can see you do in stop number 2 and stop number 3.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you guys for putting on a good event. It was good. Enjoyed it.
No worries. So we'll be reaching out to you here soon.
All right, you guys take care and have a good
All right,
night.
thanks, buddy. All right, Gene. So it sounds like that our anglers were happy with kind of how we put things together and how everything was run. If you don't have anything else to add, well, I guess we'll just call it there for this week. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. We may we don't have anything to add. We got Anthony going to national championship in March, so that's coming up pretty quick. And other than that, man, there's not a lot going on tournament wise for March. I don't believe that.
Oh, I just looked down and read my note. Ticket sales are still going on for the March Cooler, correct?
Yeah, so if we, I guess we'll be doing at least a quick show next week. We'll give it away. We're down to the last cooler. It's the Mardi Gras package. It's got like 4 tumblers with it, and we still got a few tickets left for that. So
Cool. Well, I've got nothing to add. It sounds like we got good feedback. I guess we'll just call this an end to the podcast. Again, Gene, I appreciate you helping me over the weekend. That was a big help. I would have been definitely on a struggle bus, but I guess we'll reach out to you next week and go from there.
sweet. All right.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, later.